On to your top stories for this afternoon. A meeting between President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, was held in New York last evening.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is in New York to address the 76th General Assembly of the United Nations. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was warmly welcomed to the head office of the United Nations by the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, yesterday. The Secretary General offered the UN support to Sri Lanka. Antonio Guterres said that he expects Sri Lanka to perform a key role in socio-economic matters in the Indian Ocean region. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa congratulated the UN Secretary General for once again being appointed to the position and also commended the role of the UN at a time when the world is facing a crisis. The President explained in detail the impact COVID-19 has had on the education and economy of the country and praised the support of the UN in facing this pandemic. The President had pointed out that the COVID-19 pandemic was a serious obstacle in fulfilling the promises he made to the people when he assumed the office of President in 2019. The President said that he is ready to work closely with the United Nations and assured that separatism will not raise its head again in Sri Lanka. The President stressed that Sri Lanka, as well as other nations, should be wary of religious extremism.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who left for Italy on an official visit, arrived at the island this morning.
The Prime Minister and his delegation arrived in Sri Lanka on board the Sri Lankan Airlines flight UL309. The Prime Minister and his delegation left the island on the 10th of this month to attend the G20 International Conference held at the University of Bologna, Italy. The Prime Minister's office said that the keynote address at the inaugural session of the conference was delivered by the Prime Minister, and he also held a number of diplomatic meetings. A cordial meeting was also held between Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and the Sri Lankans residing in Italy. The Prime Minister instructed Minister G.L. Pires to discuss with the Italian government on the possibility of Sri Lankans receiving their pensions from the Italian government after completing 20 years of service.
Today is the Binara Full Moon Poya Day, a day on which many incidents that of significance to the Buddha Sasana took place.
The Binara Poya Day holds special significance for Buddhists across the globe for numerous reasons, including the anniversary of the commencement of the Mehini Sasana. The beginning of the Bhikkhuni Sasana was also recorded on the Binara Full Moon Poya Day, when the Blessed One was residing at the Nigrodharama in the city of Kapilavastu. Mahaprajapati Gautami requested permission for women to enter the order. After laying down the 8 tenets of the code to be followed by the Bhikkhunis, Lord Buddha granted permission for the women to enter the order. Religious observances were held in many places of worship across the island. Only a limited number of devotees participated in these religious observances. Religious ceremonies and services were held at the Temple of the Tooth Relic in Kandy in accordance with health guidelines. This was the situation today at the places of worship in Anuradhapura, including the Jayasri Mahabodhiya and the Ruwanvali Saya. Alviharia today.
Under whose political sponsorship was the appointment of the officer in charge of the Paduka police made? There is a rift on this matter between Government MP Jagat Kumara and Minister Sarath Weerasekara. Minister Sarath Weerasekara said yesterday that disciplinary action will be taken against MP Jagat Kumara. MP Jagat Kumara responded to this statement today.
If we were scared of disparity inquiries, we wouldn't have formed this government. When Mahinda Rajapaksa was defeated in 2015, I was the first person to bring him on stage during a rally I organized in Tangol on the 16th of February 2015. None of those ministers were with him at that time because they were probably scared that they will be dealt with for corruption. People who do not know their history are the ones who speak of disciplinary inquiries. General Secretary Sagara was not even a part of this back then. I am ready for any disciplinary inquiry and to face the consequences. If I had done something wrong, if Sarath Weerasekara did not have the ministerial portfolio he is holding now, the teachers and principals' protests would not have gone so far. The teachers' protests aggravated to this level since teachers and members of the Mahasangha were dragged away when they staged a protest. That is when the people became sympathetic to their plight. I feel like he is trying to become a Hitler. He is saying that people who protest are terrorists. On the other hand, he is threatening people who speak the truth with disparity inquiries. If they hold a media briefing together, I am ready to respond to them. I would like to remind them that some details of ministers that were hidden will also have to be revealed then. If disparity inquiries are to be carried out to satisfy a few ministers, we are not intimidated by that. We will speak out for the truth and for what is right. If they try to do this to us, they will have to do it to many more people. A disparity inquiry must be carried out against MP Sagara Karyawasam first, as he was the person who blamed Minister Uday Gammanpilla and staged a media circus. Start an inquiry on that first. Who went against the stance of the party and said that provincial councils are not needed? It was Sarath Veerasekara who went against the stance of the party. If the provincial council elections were held back then, we would have won. There is a question as to if we can win such an election today. This situation was created by ministers like Sarath Veerasekara who went against the stance of the party. There are many other parliamentarians in the government who are ready to stand up for what is right. If people are to be silenced like this, they too will come out in the future.
Up
next is Crime Watch.
Crime Watch.
A 14-year-old boy has been shot dead in the Veerakatiya area. Police said that the shooting had taken place around 11 last night following an argument between two groups of relatives. The dispute between the father of the deceased and a group of close relatives had been going on for some time. The dispute is a result of a burglary at a relative's house. Veerakatiya police have arrested 3 suspects in connection with the incident. Police said the shooter had fled the area.
Crime Watch.
Samagi Janabalawege parliamentarian Manusha Nanakkara was recently informed to appear before the Criminal Investigations Department today. However, attorneys representing MP Manusha Nanakkara handed over a letter to the CID today inquiring into the reason why he was being summoned to the CID, as the MP had not been informed of the reason before.
Parliamentarian Manusha Nanakkara was summoned to the CID today. He was, however, not informed of the reason for him being summoned. We handed over a letter to the CID inquiring into the reason for this. We are waiting for a response from the CID.
Another consignment of 73,000 doses of Pfizer vaccine manufactured in the United States were brought down to the country today. The vaccine was brought from Amsterdam, Netherlands. The consignment will be transported to the Sri Lanka Pharmaceuticals Corporation's central warehouse complex in Colombo. Meanwhile, a study has been launched on the possibility of making the vaccination card mandatory. Minister of Health Keheliya Ramukwella stated that attention would be paid to the matter, including the legal situation. He stated that the relevant program will be implemented only after all those who need to be vaccinated are fully vaccinated. The minister further stated that the vaccination of non-vaccinated citizens over the age of 60 years at their homes is being further accelerated.
Meanwhile, Minister of State for Pharmaceutical Supply and Regulation, Professor Channa Jayasumana, said that the opportunity given to people over the age of 30 years to obtain the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine will end in a few days. There are several unvaccinated groups under the age of 30 here and there. Anyone over the age of 30 years who is still unvaccinated should get the vaccine as soon as possible. We cannot keep inoculating people above the age of 30 with the first dose. We need to finish the program. We're giving this opportunity for a few more days. At the same time, I request those between the ages of 20 and 30 to come and get vaccinated as soon as possible.
People in our country face a lot of problems in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some people find it difficult to make ends meet. Some are even left unemployed. In the midst of all of this, water shortage is the biggest problem faced by the residents of Nidulemada. The water they have received from the Kundasale scheme has not been available for about 3 weeks now.
වතුර දෙන්න සර් වතුර නැතුව හරි දුක් විඳිනවා අපි බොණ්ඩවත් වතුර නැ තියෙන ආල් ටික තඹල කණ්ඩත් වතුර නැ හරි දුක් විඳිනවා මාත්‍යා මේ වතුර ටික දෙන්න අපිට කණ්ඩ නැත්තම් කමන්න වතුර ටික දෙන්න වතුර තමයි මොනවටත් වතුර තමයි ඕනේ.
Most of these people make their living from animal husbandry and hired labor.
වතුර බින්දුවන්න
We inquired about this from the Kundasale Water Supply and Drainage Office. They stated that due to the increase in water consumption in the areas these days, problems like this may arise. Problems have also arisen in supplying water to the higher grounds in the village. They also stated that steps will be taken to resolve these issues expeditiously.
While people in the villages face various problems, the farmers who are unable to sell their yield has no one to tell their woes to. The wild elephant threat faced by the farming community has added to their burdens. The residents of Kandakatia also suffer the same fate. Gigiripudama village is located in the Kandakatia Divisional Secretariat in the Badola district. The majority of the residents in this village are farmers and daily wage earners. 3 houses were damaged by wild elephants last night. The animals destroyed the cultivation as well as the harvest that was stored. The villagers are requesting an elephant fence to be erected in Gigiripudama.
Meanwhile, the lawyers of the Samagijana Balawaya convened a media briefing and expressed their views regarding the controversial situation involving State Minister Lohan Ratu.
It has been revealed that he has done something wrong, accepted it and resigned. There is a violation of the penal code here and a serious offence due to the use of firearms. There have been reports of an interruption in the duties of government servants. In addition, there is a separate act for people who misbehave under the influence of alcohol. We also have the ICCPR Act. That act has been violated. Now a man who has committed an ordinary offence is arrested and produced before court. But the police haven't taken any action against this particular individual who has committed an offence that breaches a number of laws. So he must be arrested and produced immediately if justice is to be served. He does not possess any special privileges as he was the State Minister of Prisons. One cannot misuse his firearm just because he has a license to use them.
අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මේ පරීක්ෂණය සිදු වෙනවා. ඒකට හොඳම සාධකය තමයි පරීක්ෂණයට භාජනය වෙලා ඉන්න රාජ්‍ය අමාත්‍යතුමා පිළිඅරගෙන තියෙනවා.
Definitely. The State Minister has accepted that he will extend his support for this investigation. Only after this investigation is carried out that we can say that even if an individual representing our government is accused, we will carry out a clear investigation into the matter. That will be done.
ප්‍රකාශ කිරීමක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ හින්දා අපි අපේ ආණ්ඩුවට සම්බන්ධ ඕනෑම පුද්ගලයෙක් වුණත් යම් කිසි ආකාරයක චෝදනාවකට ලක් වුණොත් ඒ චෝදනාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් පැහැදිලි විමර්ශනයක් කිරීමට සූදානමින් ඉන්නවා. ඒක සිදු වෙනවා.
News here on TV1. For more of these stories, you can log on to our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you for watching.